still seems fairly bullish on this, but I really like Barry's letters because they get right to the point so quickly that the whole thesis is right here in this latest, maybe not just this letter, but the whole thesis can be found in just these letters. He does a great job of communicating his points so succinctly. But anyway, I bring this up because that's his latest commentary on the company. And besides Scion, you'll also want to check out Hester and Permit's letters and their Restore GameStop presentation. So Hester and Permit, I think they own like 7-8% of GameStop right now. The activist investors, they were the ones trying to get board seats. But they've had a number of letters back and forth over the past couple years now. But check out those letters too. They have a lot of thoughts and good thoughts on GameStop. And they also have this Restore GameStop presentation. This is from May 2020, where they put together this presentation to try to help them to share it with the investors and so forth, help them get the board seats. But it's like 80 plus pages. Like, how much can I add to an 80 plus page presentation? Not much. I'm going to reference this a couple times in this video, but check out this presentation because a lot of the thesis is covered right here. And then, yeah, so let me just pull this back over here. All right, so that's some recommended. Also, the Seeking Alpha articles. I think I have it open here. Seeking Alpha articles. Yeah, sometimes you come across a company, there's not that many articles written, or the ones that are written just aren't that good. GameStop has a number of really good articles out there, and I'm biased. You don't need to tell me this, but in my opinion, the bullish articles here, the bullish authors, they seem to be more attuned to reality than the bears, I think. Maybe you disagree. That's cool. Let me know. But I think they seem to be more the security analyst type. This is going to come up later in this video, but check out the articles. A lot of the stuff I'm going to say, it's already been covered here. So that's what I mean. I don't have much new to say. I'm just sharing my viewpoint. So check those out. But yeah, I think that's just about everything. So some recommended reading. So if you read all that stuff, you probably don't need to watch this. But if you are going to watch this, let's keep moving forward. So like I said, there's a lot of aspects of it, a lot of moving parts of this bull thesis, but I boiled it down to just what I consider the 3 overs. Digital risks seem to me to be overblown. The negative sentiment is overdone. And the value is overlooked. In fact, I think the GameStop stock is, it epitomizes value investing. It's like value investing at its finest because it's such a classic case of value investing. We'll get into it later. I don't want to spend too much time on that, but it's just a classic value stock. And I think that's why it's so polarizing in my opinion. But okay. So let's get into the digital risk overblown. So this transition to digital, I think it's just much slower than what's being priced in. It seems to me that it's been happening over time. I do think it's inevitable. Like if we're looking out 50 years, 100 years, we don't need to have a discussion because we're on the same page. Everything's going to be digital. I just don't think we're there yet. And this is meaningful because 2020 is when the consoles are coming out. It does matter where we are today and where we'll be the next couple of years. You can't just say, we're going fully digital, so that's the end of the discussion. I think that's what a lot of people are doing. I'll touch on this later too, but people just go digital is the future, so there's nothing to be had here with GameStop. There's no future. But I don't think we're there yet. I mean, it's transitioning much slower. I have some web pages pulled up here so I think I try to. Let me just keep on going with these bullet points. I just list them before I start pulling up some other websites. But people just say, physical discs, they still remain a good-sized chunk in 2020. That's part of what I'm getting at. I also think in-game purchases, they're kind of skewing some of the figures that people are sharing. Like they'll share some figures, which I'll show in just a sec. If they say, this is what percentage of the market is digital right now. But I think those in-game purchases are kind of affecting that. I'm not certain, but that's okay because I'm a value investor. I don't need to be precise. And then why discs. But before I get to why discs, let me just share some of the things. So if you Google like physical versus digital, you're going to come across the Statista webpage. And like you see stuff like this, and maybe other people are, and you see, I highlighted this part in contrast, only 17% of video games were sold in physical form. And you see figures like this, and you see the trend too. If you look at the trend over the past 5 years, it looks really alarming. And so people see this and they think, oh man, GameStop's toast. But I think there's just some misunderstanding with that data. I think a lot of that, like I said, is in-game purchases. I think the actual outright purchase of discs is still relatively high. And I have, let me just see what other page I got up here. So to counter this, there was an article in May 2019 by Wedbush Securities. I mean, maybe they're biased too. Maybe they're bullish on GameStop, but they talk about a number of things that like kind of counter that point that everything's going digital. Like sales of the FIFA game is still 75% discs in 2018. I don't even know the accuracy of that. I see the report that they're citing, but this is the thing. You're going to see lots of data, and as an individual investor, it's hard to know what's true and what's not, what's accurate. So you kind of just got to read a lot and try to get a feel for this type of stuff. And so check out this article. It was in Variety. Check this out because they kind of counter a lot of this stuff. Whether or not you fully agree with it, that's another thing, but just read it. And then there was another thing here too in GameIndustry.biz where they talk about, this is more European focused, where they're talking about certain countries, what percent is digitized, what percentage of games purchased are physical. And so look over this. I don't want to review the whole thing. That's not the point of this video, but just check out these sources where this was 2018, 2019, it's 2020 right now, and the trend is clearly going toward digital. But this is my point, is that you're still seeing some countries that are still heavily skewed to physical. And I don't think 1 year later, all of a sudden everyone's going to be buying digital. So that's the thing, is because these next few years are critical for this GameStop thesis. And so if there's still a good chunk that's physical games, GameStop sells other stuff too, but the software itself, those used games, what everyone's focused on, because that generates a lot of free cash flow. That in particular, yeah, I just check these articles out. Now I know I'm rambling a bit, but I got to keep going to keep this quick. What else did I have up here? Oh, and then like, so there was this article's from June 2019. It was an interview. It was on The Verge, but they were talking to the Xbox boss Phil Spencer, and so this I'm like trying to piece together the story as to, that's what I mean. It's so hard to know exactly what these numbers are, how many people are still buying discs. So I like try to look for stuff that piece together the narrative. And so Phil Spencer was saying, I want to give, this was last year, I want to give people choice, and right now physical is a choice that millions of people love. So this is the Xbox, Phil Spencer, and he's saying this last year. That should be meaningful to people. When you tell me no one's buying physical anymore, if Xbox is saying this, or the people in charge of Xbox are helping lead the charge of saying this, like, you should pay attention to that. And if you remember back in 2013 when they were rolling out the Xbox, there was some confusion over the console, and it kind of messed up a bit. And then they wrote this blog. I forget the story itself, but then they had to say like this. They had to walk it back. You told us how much you love the flexibility and so forth. And with games delivered on disc, they had to start offering the disc version, or start trumpeting that even more, because people wanted that. I get it was 2013. It's changed during this console cycle. I get that. It's not lost on me. I just mean that Xbox kind of realized that, like, all right, people still want these discs.
Many thanks, as I'm humbled already by everyone's support. Appreciate you.
I'm just
Interested
chilling.
in stock investing, M1 Finance is offering a special limited time promotion. If you sign up with my M1 Finance referral link, which is also in the video description, and make a $100 deposit, both you and I will receive $30.
4 free shares of stock when you open an account and make your first deposit.
Totally free. You can just sign up with Microsoft, Visa, Johnson & Johnson. All you gotta do is sign up for my link down in the description, sign up for Robinhood. All you gotta do is fill out some information about yourself and link your bank account, and literally that's it. That's all you gotta do.
Hey, I'm actually a nice person.
Line up that like button, or smash the like button. Regardless of which metaphor you prefer, this small action really helps me grow the channel, and I appreciate it.
Okay, thanks. Have a great day.